What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another episode of the Melanin Money Show, right? So this week it's me and yours truly. We got Carter Cofield, aka Cartier Carter, aka Mr. International. Where you at right now, man? Where you at?
Yo, what's going on, family? We are chiming in today from beautiful Budapest. And a lot of people don't know where Budapest is. And arguably, my first time coming here, I had no idea where I was at. But it's in Hungary, man. It's in Europe. And one of 4 stops. So just, living this digital life. But look, I'm not too busy for the people. So I came here, happy to tune in. There's a crazy time zone difference, but we're going to make it happen. Let's get it.
As of this recording, it's like, what, 11:40 there? 10:40?
10:40, yeah.
10:40 at night in Budapest, and it's 3:40 on the East Coast. So if that ain't commitment, that don't deserve a 5-star review before we get into content, y'all. Come on now. But now we're gonna have a fun episode today, right? So I feel like there's always this intersection of like hip hop and pop culture and like entrepreneurship now, right? A lot of people will even say that entrepreneurs are the new celebrities. And so, when I thought about that, I was trying to think of a dope like episode that could really contextualize the similarities, like when you think about like hip hop and all that, and like how it translates to how we as entrepreneurs can think about and build out our business model, right? So today we're going to talk about how to use the music industry as a framework for your business model. So I think this is going to be fun. It's going to be a fun one, right?
Yeah, and I appreciate you for putting this together. Like when I saw the notes, I was like, oh, this is going to be dope. So y'all look, like tune in because you're going to learn something. I'm going to learn something. And we go put music and entrepreneurship together today. Let's do it.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So if you're anything like us, right, you an OG hip hop head, right? You got your favorite artists, and then like, it doesn't happen as much as it used to, but like freestyles used to be the thing, right? Like, Wayne would drop a freestyle and be like, yo, Wayne just dropped a new freestyle. And it was a way for artists to really just have fun, right? It's like, there's no real parameters. They might be rapping over another beat that we already know and love. And they're just putting out, free content, right? You can just stream it on SoundCloud. I think even back then, like what are some of the streaming apps that people used to use back in the day? You remember?
I'm trying to think. Man, like people using
DatPiff, I think was
DatPiff, hot mixtapes.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I'm trying to think where I got like the Dedication 3 and stuff. It was hot mixtape. Yeah.
So you get your favorite artist over your favorite beats, right? So they would pick the most dope beats at the time, and they would just put out some fire freestyles. And so when we thought about that, how does that translate to like entrepreneurs and how they build their business, right? So think about it, like when you just hop on your stories and you do a quick post where you're holding the phone, right? Or you put out some content that's it's not super curated, but it's some valuable gems that you're dropping, right? Essentially, that is like your freestyle, right? Your social media content that you're dropping, emails that you send out to your audience, text message that you send out, right? Yeah. All that kind of stuff, in my opinion, is like the equivalent of a freestyle if you were a music artist. So Carter, what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, man, I look at it as organic free game. Right. So like, and I like it. I think it has to also be kind of in real time, right? Because when people do these like freestyles and remix, it's all like a beat that's still relevant. So like, I think, for example, when we had a bear market, in the bear market, when the stocks were tumbling, I went on a quick story post like, hey, like, yo, if your favorite Jordans was on sale, would you go buy some more or would you go sell them? Everybody's like, go buy them. And I'm like, well, think of stocks the same way. And it was just free, quick, organic content that one shows that you know what you're talking about because you're doing it on the fly, right? And secondly, it's timely and it gives people some exposure to who you are that might not know the whole story.
Dope, love that, right? So that's what we consider a freestyle, right? From an entrepreneur's lens when you think about content creation, right? So then what else did our most popular and favorite artists do, right? They would put together mixtapes. Right. In some instances, the mixtape was a culmination of those freestyles, or in some instances, it was like still that fun, energetic body of work, right? But still not necessarily album level, right? Still just like, I'm having fun with this. I'm putting it out. I'm probably rapping over some beats. So in my opinion, what I think is a mixtape is almost like either like a podcast or like a content series, right? So you've seen people on TikTok when they're like something part 1, right? Like, and there's 4 parts, right? So that way it's thought out, but it's still organic, right? It's still organic free game. So you're thinking about how you're going to put it together, but it's still kind of that organic free game. And then with a podcast, right, it's free, right? So we're putting it out, but it's thought out. So it may not be as thought out and curated as a course, which we're going to talk about, or something like that, but it is thought out, but it's still free. Yes, it's more of like a creative body of work that's not quite as thorough or as thought out as like a course. You know what I'm saying? But you can kind of like, you can stream it together. Like our episodes, you know, sometimes build off one another. And so that's what I think about how I would equate a mixtape to like the next level of content as an entrepreneur.
Yeah. I would agree with that. I'll take it a step further. It also could be like a short YouTube series, right? Like some people have these like, short YouTube shorts or short series where you're kind of almost like waiting on the next one because now you expect it, right? It's like, all right, dedication 1, dedication 2, and the main thing is that it's free for everybody to get their hands on, and they appreciate that a little bit more than a freestyle because they understand it took you time, right? It's still 14 songs, right? But it took you time. So I think one of the best ways that I look at it now from one of my favorite content creators, shout out to Kamoy. You remember Kamoy, right?
Yeah.
Kamoy Martin on Instagram. Shout out to him. He has a mini series on his Instagram of secret bars in every country. So now, like, it might not be every post, but like series number 14, I'm in Australia, he goes to secret bar. So like it's a commitment to a specific type of content that gives amazing value, is free, and kind of keeps the audience in anticipation for other things to follow.
Facts. I love that. That's a great one because to your point, it's free, it's valuable, but people are kind of like, oh, I know he's traveling again. Like, what's that secret bar in that city? And what it also, the crazy part about it is, to the naked eye, it might seem like, man, like they're putting in this much effort, but what it ends up doing is it actually drowns out the noise and gives you something that you can latch on to as a content creator. Because if you know, like, if nothing else, if I travel to a new city, my objective is to find a secret bar, right? Like now it gives you focus, right? Versus, but man, I could create content on everything. Now you got that one thing that you can be known for, you can latch on to. So that can be super dope as well.
And it builds equity, right? It builds relationship equity with your audience, which if you're a musician, if you're an actor, if you're an entrepreneur, you want to build relationships with your community and giving them just something else to look forward to. Like, bro, in 2007, Lil Wayne, I think, put out, and y'all can fact check me, but it has to be like, 180 songs. Like, and it was crazy. It was like 5, 6 mixtapes. It was insane. But when the album dropped, like, you think I'm not about to buy that after all? Because I've been listening to nothing but Wayne, you know? So I think in that same sense, as a content creator, like, podcast, I think is actually the perfect, synonymous medium that we're talking about. You put out all this free content. People hear your voice for hours. When you tell them to buy something, you think they're not going to jump?
Right.
The
Law of Reciprocity, right?
Yeah.
Law of Reciprocity, right? And it's like the Costco model, right? And what it also does is it forces you to validate if you're as good as you think you are, right? So like the reason why Costco is willing to give out the little samples of the little pizza bites or whatever, it's like, because they know when you get a taste of that and you get a chance, like, yo, what are the rest of these? Like, how can I buy the whole thing? You know what I'm saying? So like, we say this all the time, but if you're afraid of giving away too much, then maybe you don't know enough, right? Maybe there's not enough game in the tank, right? Because if you give it away and it's good, right? People are going to want what you have to offer that's premium. That's just the way it works. It's like, yo, this is that good. And so this is almost a validation mechanism for yourself, right? And I think we were talking about influencers who aren't influencers on another previous episode. And it's like, all right, well, are you who you think you are, right? Because if you can put out this free, valuable game as you think it is, when it comes time to ask people to spend a little bit of coin, right? You should get some traction. Right? They should be like, I owe, like, with birthday bundle, right? Carter got a birthday coming up. Make sure y'all support the birthday bundle.
Hey, let's go. You know it's loading. I
already know the vibes, right? And so, I pulled mine together in a few days, but like a lot of people that was buying is like, yo, bro, I feel like I got to buy this. You know what I'm saying? Like, I got to. I was getting DMs like, like because of the value that you provide to people on a regular basis. So that's why it's important. Like, never lose sight of this. Maybe that's another episode, but I feel like we can continue to do series on the power of brand, but never lose sight of the value of a brand, right? The value of consistently showing up for people, the predictability that creates for people. And as a result, the action that they're willing to take, right? We were at the conference and Carter has people walking up to him, thanking him for the gems that he dropped. I had people walking up to me. So it's like, you just never know how much you're increasing your reach just by showing up and adding value with this free content.
And I'm gonna go on a small tangent because I was having a conversation with my girl Nikki.
Nikki. Shout out to we gotta get Nikki on the podcast.
No, we'll get her the podcast on during Invest Fest.
Okay,
I'm already like that has to be in person. That has to be in person.
Can we use your camera, people? Like we just pay. You gotta figure it out. Why don't you chop it up and send it back down?
No. So I'll never forget. I was having a conversation with her last week, and I told her something that Ellie told me, and it shocked her, like a brand queen. You know what I'm saying? This is Nikki on Instagram. Go follow her. I had a conversation with our homegirl Ellie a couple months ago, and I'm like, yo, how do you show up consistently every day? How do you post 2-3 times a day, every day?
Yeah.
And then she was like, here's how I see it, and Ellie's a genius. She was like, here's how I see it. If it's the NBA playoffs, right? And you turn on ESPN and they're not there to talk about the game. Like, how would you feel? Like, you looking for the highlights. Like, how would you feel?
I feel slighted. I'm like, I'm canceling my cable system. I'm looking around like, what's going on?
Right. So that's their show for a day. But what if they went like 3 days and didn't show up and it's the NBA playoffs happening, right? You would lose faith in their brand as a company.
Yeah.
Right. So what if you're a content creator, if you're an influencer, if you're a voice in the space of your industry, and you go 2, 3, 4 days without showing up to give your audience game, every single day, they're losing faith in you. They losing faith in your brand, and they losing faith in your ability to give information. When she told me that, I never needed motivation to create content.
Yeah. So like even this podcast, for example, why is Ricardo recording this at 10:50 at night? It's because we told y'all August 1st of 2021 that every Wednesday, y'all would expect the episode from us. Now, if we missed the Wednesday, now we're human, right? Y'all might still rock with us, but it's like, dang, they said every Wednesday though. You know what I'm saying? And the thing is, if we want to put ourselves on the level of the greats, when a TV series drops and they say that it's dropping this day of the week at this time, right? If they don't show up, you're like, whoa, what's going on? What happened? You know what I'm saying? So we can't expect greatness and expect to be compared or be on that pedestal if we're not willing to have the same commitment, right? You got to show up for your audience, right? And it's even forced me, to put more effort into getting back to my content bag, because I was working on a lot of behind the scenes stuff for our brand and for our company. But I'm just like, I have to still do my part to remind people, you know what I'm saying? Like number one, you know what I'm saying? I can't let
I knew that was coming.
I knew it was coming, you know what I'm saying? But beyond that, right? Like to Carter's point, like we have to continue to show up because your people are losing faith in you, right? So very, very important. I love that. I'm glad we expounded upon that. So the next thing, when you think about the music industry and content creators, entrepreneurs, are singles, right? So when somebody drops a single, that means the album is coming, right? The single is what we call valuable but incomplete, right? It's like, okay, we know this is going to be on the album, right? And we're going to drop this as a piece of it, but it's just a part of a completed body of work, right? So for an entrepreneur, a single might be, let's say you wrote an ebook and you let people download the first chapter, right? Or you have a course with several modules and you drop one of the videos from one of the modules. You follow what I'm saying? So it's like, oh man, okay, they're getting a glimpse at this premium content, but they know that there's more, right? And you can frame it up. If you think of, again, our goal is to reshape your mindset. So you can frame it up that way now. Like, hey guys, this is from right? So now you're building the buzz, right? You want to join the wait list when I drop the full, right? When I drop the full album, right? When I drop the full course or the book or whatever it is that you're selling, join the wait list. People, oh, that was fire, but I need more. Join the waitlist, right? So now you're building that buzz, right? You're building that buzz for when you actually drop the full body of work.
So let me give the audience some game right here, because I don't think they understood how much game that you just gave right there. So what would happen outside of obviously Drake, Wayne, whatever, but if a new artist dropped the album without dropping a single, his odds for success would be extremely low.
Facts.
Right? So let me give y'all some game, all y'all new content creators, y'all new influencers. When you drop a course or ebook without giving anybody a heads up that you're about to drop a course or ebook, don't get mad when it flops, because you didn't properly launch the course, the book, the whatever you're about to do, because you didn't give people any anticipation. Right. So this is a great lesson. Like, when an artist drops an album, they give a single, they do promotion. When you're about to drop your digital products, don't drop a digital product without a series of content around it, and a wait list and a launch strategy. Like, I can sit here all day and give y'all a blueprint to a five, like literally, George, we hopped on the phone. I gave you a blueprint to a 5-figure birthday bundle launch, and that's what happened, right? And literally, like, you have to study other industries to find out how they do it right. People don't drop a movie without having the trailer.
It's like an 8-month runway. Sometimes a year plus sometimes.
Exactly. Right. So even if you're about to start a business, like, give people a runway, give anticipation, have this single drop. Like, yo, we giving y'all a game. Like, if you are about to start a digital product soon, hear me out. Don't do it without at least a 7-day launch plan where you're giving game for 7 days about your digital product. Then you're telling them, hey, join the wait list, text this number. Like, look, y'all gonna see it. This episode gonna drop next Wednesday. Y'all gonna see it in action. Y'all gonna see it in action. But, but I just wanted to give you all, like, that's such a gem. Like, that's such a gem. And if you take that to your business, and it's gonna pay dividends.
That's a fact. That's a fact. So, matter of fact, I'm gonna put them on the hook. So in August, right, you're gonna do a case study breakdown on launch strategy after your birthday bundle, and it's gonna be inside of the Melanin Millionaires Club. So shout out to the Melanin Millionaires Club, right? So if you're listening to this, episode, right, and you're listening to the Melanin Money Show, i.e., right, our mixtape, and you loving the game that you're getting from it. I've seen the comments on YouTube. I hopped on the other day, and we've seen that you guys are starting to really, really enjoy the content. Well, why not join the club where we have over 200 on-demand videos where we go in depth on topics like this, right? And Carter is going to drop his case study in August. It's going to be a lot more, way more than it's going to cost to join the club for 2 years. You know what I'm saying? For 10 years, for that.
That's such a play. Like, and I'm going to give it to him right after I did it. So it's going to be so fresh. And you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to even promise to bring my Stripe receipt.
Woo, spicy.
I'm a promise to bring my Stripe receipt from my birthday bundle week launch, so that y'all can see in real time. This is what happened 30 days ago. This is how I did it. This is how you can do it. Because GA, we hopped on the phone for what?
20 minutes?
30 minutes?
Yeah. And I didn't even give myself, because I had just, mind you, and no excuses, right? I had just, my son at the time was 3 months and change, maybe. 2.5 months, right? So I didn't really prepare and didn't have as much of a runway, but I made it happen. Got the landing page done, got the graphics and flyers done, got the strategy launch 4 or 5 days, text sequence launch, and we ran up a bag. You know what I'm saying?
You ran up enough. If you invested that, he would never have to pay for college.
Ooh, when you put it,
if you invested the money that you made for your birthday bundle into a college tuition fund, he would have tuition 2-3 times over.
2-3 times over, right? And I'm gonna do a whole nother episode or case study on how the power of building a brand. So, my wife's an influencer as well. So she's got multiple brand deals for Legend, right? That he was featured in, right? So we're not even talking about the tax write-off, right? We're not even getting the car.
You saw me reaching.
You know what I'm saying? We're not even gonna go that deep. Not on this.
I was about to get in the bag, bro.
You know what I'm saying? But we're gonna talk about the money that he made that's now fully funded his Roth. Right? He maxed out. He's maxed out. How you gonna let Legend max out his Roth IRA? You ain't maxed out yours.
I'm gonna flip this computer, bro.
Off of his brand deal that he was featured in. Come on now.
Power of a brand is ridiculous.
Before he was 3 months old. Come on now. Come on, people. Anyways, we would go off on too many tangents if we went, but that's gonna be a whole other episode, another case study, right? All right. Another thing that's exciting is coming, real quick tangent, YouTube. So Carter just shot it out on his page, and I'm gonna do the same thing. So our vlogs when we're traveling together, tax game, investing game, more free mixtape content for you guys is going on the YouTube channel. Carter's gonna have his own playlist. I'm gonna have my own playlist. Jacqueline's gonna have her own playlist. So our YouTube is gonna be our new home base, right? So if you're an Apple Podcast listener, soak up as much game as you can on the audio front. I love listening to podcasts in the gym and on the go, but do not forget YouTube, right? That is where you get to see us, and we're going to be breaking down even more content that you get than on Apple Podcasts. So just a quick tangent there, because guys got a lot of sauce coming to YouTube, right? It's only right. It's only right.
This game, but bro, I'm still just off that alone. We can end this podcast right now.
Yeah,
because the game we just gave, if they received it properly,
you receive it and execute it, right? Receive and execute. All right. Saucy. And that's why I don't ever want to hear anybody complain, not us, maybe some other gurus and whatever they want to call themselves. Go to Carter's Instagram, go to my Instagram, search the hashtag George J Speaks, listen to like we have given out enough free game for a lifetime and a half. Right. So I don't want to hear anybody ever complain about anything that we charge for, because you can consume the free game. You can run up a bag off of that. Right. Carter joined a mastermind off of some free game he got from somebody else. Right. You know what I'm saying? So like, listen, if it's premium, if this sauce is this good, imagine what happens when we put the special sauce in it. You know what I'm saying? Like if the free sauce tastes like this, what happens when we, you know what I'm saying? Goddamn.
Hey, look, Melanin Money /join is all I'm gonna say. If y'all missed this August class that I'm gonna do on teaching y'all how to run up tens of thousands of dollars in one day. Be my guest to miss it. That's all right.
And then for my service-based entrepreneurs, I'm gonna do a class the next month on how to make 6 figures in an hour. Right.
Okay, I'm out.
But anyways, we'll talk about that. I'm not doing another service. Yeah. That's another story for another day. All right, so album.
Teach me that first before we gonna chop it up.
Yeah.
Okay.
But Mash, I sent you the text. I said, "Yo, I might." But I sent you the text.
You sent me the text.
All right. Album. Okay. So we talked about singles, right? Singles is a part of your album. Now the album is a full body work. You dropped the single. You had the wait list. You built the buzz. People was like, "Yo, what's going on?" You dropped the trailer. People are excited, right? It's like, now I'm ready for this album. You're not Drake and you're not Beyonce, okay? So if you think for 1 second you can drop an album at midnight and it's gonna go bananas, it's not. And even to be honest, Drake's didn't do as many numbers as he normally would do. But I think it's more a byproduct of just where the industry is right now, because I think somebody else had dropped. Chris Brown's didn't do numbers like that either.
But when he took the time to promote Certified Lover Boy, put them billboards in every city that he had a feature in, he went platinum overnight.
Yeah, that's a fact. So I used to shun brand awareness marketing because I'm a small business owner, and I'm like, I need to put all my efforts into conversion in terms of like, well, if I'm gonna spend paid money, right? But where I had a paradigm shift is that when people know you, they trust you. And when they trust you, they'll spend money with you. How do you get to know people at scale for free? Right? Content.
Yeah, no, so I was about to say, like, you are absolutely right. Small businesses should not be dumping money in brand awareness. But guess what? Due to technology, brand awareness is free. Mm-hmm. All it costs you is time and work, which is not technically free, but like, yo, you ain't got nothing else to do. You know what I'm saying? It's either sacrifice the time for it or pay some money you don't have. But like, we're blessed to now have free brand awareness in our pocket with all these social media platforms.
Yeah, and you have to learn how to start quantifying ROI, right? So it's like, if you go, like Carter went on a podcast recently, dropped a decent little chunk of change, right, to get on that podcast, right? But the thing is, you got to start understanding how to quantify ROI, because it's like this. If I spend this one time, then I get to own whatever I do forever, because if you're smart, you get leads, right? You get people in your ecosystem, because what happens, the only reason why we go on this podcast is because we're trying to expand our reach. The only reason why we spend more money on paid ads is because we're trying to expand our reach. But guess what happens when you become the platform, right? But guess what happens when you have you're a big enough distribution channel. That stuff becomes less important. You can just press a button from your email list. You can press a button from your Instagram account, right? So you go out and you acquire market share. You get more people to know you. And so you're spending the money one time to own them. God knows the life cycle, right? Or the lifetime value of that customer or that potential customer, right? You might have paid the money that one time, right? But now they're in your ecosystem. And every time you drop an album, guess what? They're on your list. Every time you drop an album, they're following you. So you got to start to wrap your head around the macro view of the power of owning an audience. What's going on, guys? My name is George Acheampong.
I'm Jacqueline Shattuck.
And I'm Carter Cofield.
And we are the founders of Melanin Money. And the reason why we started Melanin Money is because we know that there's a great disparity when it comes to building wealth among people of color. We have a tremendous mission that we want you guys to join, right? Every single year, we want to help at least 1,000 people improve their net worth by $100,000, which will create $100 million of new Black wealth every single year.
Can you imagine $100 million of new Black wealth every year? As it stands right now, for every $1 that a white family has, a Black family has a mere 10 cents to match that dollar. We want to increase the wealth in the Black community so that we can have equal opportunities.
Simply put, we're about closing the wealth gap, and it starts with you.
So see you inside. Right? Like, and I know Carter understands it's like nobody's business, because y'all might not believe, those who are new to his audience, y'all might not believe this, but when we first met just a couple short years ago, he had like 3,000 followers on Instagram, like 3,000-ish, right? Then he started getting hip to the digital marketing game and went all in because he understood and understands the power of the brand, which is why he leads that division for Melanin Money. Right? We understand the power of, if we have our own stage, if we have our own platform, that means our customer acquisition cost continues to go down, right? That's why you can't forget about the power of brand. But anyways, album, right? Your body of work, that's your courses, your books, your coaching programs, your ebooks, and you're only putting out that album after what? After a launch strategy, after dropping a single, after getting people on the wait list and build the buzz, right? So this is, we giving them some sauce on this. I ain't gonna hold you.
I mean, like, yeah, when you showed me the show notes, I'm like, oh, okay. All right. Yeah. He went in his bag for this one. Okay.
Yeah, I was excited about this one.
Yeah.
All right. So as we approach some of these last points, so then guess what, right? People are excited. They bumping your music in the car. They did the car test. They got the headphones in the gym, right? They loving it, right? Then you announce, I'm pulling up in your city. I'm doing an album tour, right? I'm doing an album tour. The entrepreneurial content creator equivalent to that is an in-person or virtual conference or event where people get an opportunity to access you live, right? In today's day and age, that live could be a Zoom call, webinar, or it could be an in-person experience, but people get a chance to get in the room. There's something about getting in a room, whether it's virtual or in person, there's a certain energy that you just can't duplicate anywhere else, right? And so because they've been consuming your content, they're loving what's going on, like they're like, well, I want to sing the album out loud. I want to tell Carter, how much this inspired, how much this changed my life, how much I was able to run off a bag off the play he gave me in the book, in the course, right? How much money I saved, and I want to tell him in person. That's how good it was, right? And so that's when you get a chance to do your album tour, right? Whether it's a conference, whether it's a mini mastermind, right? And the beautiful part about it is you're gonna make a bag off that too, right? So it just depends upon the structure that you want it to be, right? As a matter of fact, later in Q3 and Q4, like we're gonna be doing some more in-person stuff, right? But guess what? We've laid the foundation for over a year at that point with our mixtape and our content. You follow what I'm saying? So like, listen, we're unpacking this in real time. Like we couldn't have done this September of last year, right? We would have had 1 month of credibility, but we have done an episode every Wednesday since August, the first week in August, have not missed a beat. You don't think some of our loyal listeners, fam, people are going to come out and support, right? When we do an in-person anything, we've proven it. We've paved the way now. So you have the opportunity to do in-person or virtual experiences to get people in the room.
And I'll even take it a step further, because people are like, yo, man, I don't have the means or the funds to put on the conference or to put on my own in-person or put on my own virtual event. What you can do is go to somebody else's conference and just show up as a vendor, or just show up and show out there. So for example, Black Equity Con, me and you got to come from behind the computer for all these months because of COVID and step into a room with 2,000-3,000 other people, and like, yo, man, I remember, hey man, I appreciate, and we're building this deep relationship equity with our community, and all we had to do is show up to a conference already being put on. So what that is equivalent to is if an artist is going on tour, you can be the opening act, right? You know what I'm saying? If an artist is going to, you might not be able to hold the tour for Jay-Z, but you can be the opening act. And being the opening act, you're borrowing some of his fans, and they're now becoming your fans because you showed up. So what I'm telling you all is, when you're on this track, get in every single room that you can, right? Get a conference list. What conferences have your people there that you need to be a part of? And I don't care if you can't afford a booth, just pull up, because they're still seeing you all of the time. If me and George are still going to conferences, InvestFest, we going to, we just got back from Black Equity Con, we going to Funnel Hacking Live, like all these conferences that we're still going to, even though we're not hosting them, we're showing up because we understand the power of getting in the room.
Right. And the keyword is yet. Don't ever play yourself.
No, don't ever play yourself.
The keyword is yet. So like we're pulling up, and people start to like, okay, like, dang, like y'all was giving that energy online, but it's the same energy in person, and like, then you start to build more trust, right? Now that part we can't control, right? Like if you Mr. or Mrs. super confident behind the camera with the ring light, and you get a little timid in person, and people like, oh, I thought you was, we can't control that, right? But you can, right? You can. So just show up, be authentic, be yourself, have a good time. And to your point, you step on that stage, like they came to see Jay, it's like, dang, like, it was all right. Like, let me go ahead and tap in, like, and now you feel like you discovered a new artist, right? And now they're in your ecosystem. So show up for yourself, go to these conferences, get in these rooms, and that's another way to expand your brand, right? And of course, we would be remiss if we didn't talk about how some type of physical product or merchandise can be another extension of your brand, right? So back to Black Equity Con. Well, Melanin Money, the merch brand, was a global brand before we pulled these other pillars in. But why? Because people can buy a shirt and they can wear it all over the place, right? And so now when we go to these conferences, and people literally either one came to the conference and had merch on, or thought it was so dope that they either swapped out what they had on the same day, or that next day at the conference, we see a sea of people that have on our merch, right? And so the question is, why is that? Because what happens is, of course, the merch can stand on its own, right? Like, because, it could just be a really cool t-shirt or a really cool hat. But what takes it to the next level is you are productizing whatever feeling that they get when they listen to your music, whatever feeling that they get when they go to, opt into your course. Now you're productizing that. Melanin Millionaire, that's me. That's what I'm accomplishing. You see what I'm saying? So the merchandise becomes a physical manifestation of that. So it's no different than the music industry, right? It's like they probably got some type of catchphrase that they say in their music, or a line that only the true listeners would know, and it becomes a physical representation of that. So if you have a brand, right, you should consider adding a merchandise component to it. Right now, truth be told, it's not something you can just do easily, and this just happens overnight. Like I said, it took us years, but here's the beautiful part about it. If you build a brand first, had I built the brand first before launching the merch, it would have been even easier. You follow what I'm saying? I didn't build the brand first. I started the merch and then built a brand over time. But if you start building a brand first, it's like easy. So for example, Kamoy, shout out to Kamoy, second time on the podcast, man, you got to pay us for this, man. But Kamoy now, after building his brand, has merchandise, right? But for my people that are really interested in the merch piece, I do want to give you some game. I don't care how poppin' you think you are. Make sure that whatever you're putting on your merch, right, whatever it is that you're selling, is something that people can identify with, and not just like your company's name, or like because people aren't gonna buy that, right? Like matter of fact, there's a difference between merch and fashion, right? Merch is, I work at a tech company and they gave us a shirt to work the booth, and they think people care about those shirts. I'm gonna get it to sleep in it and work out in it, but you're not gonna catch me out vibing with the joint. You want people to want to wear your stuff all the time. You follow what I'm saying? And so make sure that you get out of your own way, right? The reason why Nike can put a check on there now is because people know Nike. There'll be a time when we can just put the double M on there and people gonna know what's up, right? We're not there yet, right? So right now, Melanin Millionaire, Black Brilliant Billionaire in the making, right? Things that people can self-identify with, whether they like you or not, right? That's what's going to help you still move merch, even if they don't quite yet know who you are. Because somebody might see Carter with that shirt on, might not know nothing about Melanin Money, might not care about George, might not care about
somebody stopped me in Budapest, was like, yo, like, I'm in another country. Right. And the dude was like, man, that's a nice shirt. And I'm like, thank you. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, and I get stopped all of the time wearing this shirt, people who do not know me. And it's because it doesn't matter, because nobody cares about anything but more than they care about themselves. So if the shirt represents who they are, then they will rock your brand. That's good though.
Yeah. So make sure that if you're coming out with merch, people can see themselves and self-identify with it, right? That's huge, because again, I don't care how popular you think you are, it's just gonna be an unnecessary uphill battle, because like, you don't want people to buy stuff off the strength. You want them to buy because they like it. You know what I'm saying? Like, oh,
they'll buy it off the strength. They'll buy it off the strength. They ain't gonna wear it off the strength.
Bingo. All right. So as we close out here, a couple small things. Collaborations, right? Carter kind of already touched on this when it comes to, like, you know, being an opening act for somebody else, right? Pulling up at these events. But if you see other entrepreneurs that are on your level, right? Like y'all are peers, or maybe they're a little bit further than you, right? Identify how y'all can connect, right? How can we do a joint webinar, joint class, a joint live? Because the same effect happens. Now your audience are crossing over, right? And some of our favorite songs got Drake, got Cole, has multiple people on it, right? So stop thinking you got to be the only person on the track, right? Like, even if they're in your industry, collaborate, right? Carter has collaborated with multiple tax folks, right? I've collaborated with multiple wealth building and finance experts. Why? Because if they like that type of content, guess what? I mean, if I'm just being honest, they gonna like me too. I'm not trying to steal them completely, but they're also gonna like me. And it's not about stealing. Just because I like J. Cole doesn't mean I can't like Drake, right? Like, there's no monopoly on greatness. The way that I do it, the way that I say it is gonna be different than the person, you know, who's tapped into that audience. And so just remember, don't be afraid to collaborate in fear of competition. You're actually missing out on expanding your reach, because there's gonna be somebody in their audience that actually resonates even more with you. Like, I love what he's talking about, but I love the way he put it. You follow what I'm saying? And so just make sure that you're always looking for opportunities to collaborate with like-minded people.
And one of my favorite songs to kind of just put this all together is just Run This Town Tonight by Jay-Z, Rihanna, Kanye West, 3 billionaires in the music industry. Right. And what the song represents, like, no, we gonna run this town. Like, so imagine being a content creator in your space, picking out the other 2 dope content creators in your industry and saying, hey, you know what? We gonna run this whole thing.
What's up, guys? Congratulations on joining Team Black Wealth. But we'd be remiss if we didn't give you a uniform as an official player on the team. So head over to shop.melaninmoney.com and grab your official uniform for Wealth Builders of Color. We'll see y'all in practice.
Right? Like, we gonna run this. Like, we gonna do a joint class, a joint course, a joint, like, I got some stuff brewing with some other accountants. Like, yo, like, why wouldn't we do this? Right. And because it's like, yo, if we're the face of Black CPAs, we gonna run this town tonight. You know what I'm saying? And I think that if it comes with a mindset of collaboration over competition, but like Rihanna, Jay-Z, Kanye West all became billionaires, and guess what? It's enough money on the planet for all of us to become billionaires.
Enough money on the planet for all of us to become billionaires too, right? And as we close out, the last point I want to give you guys is kind of just bringing the brand thing full circle, right? Distribution is everything. Right? You saw a lot of artists started to go independent because they weren't getting the best deals with the major labels. But why were they partnering with the major labels? They're partnering with the major labels because the labels had the distribution, power, right? So it's like they had the reach, they had the infrastructure. So as a content creator, right, never lose sight of the fact that you need your own mouthpiece, right? I think I shared something from Abu the other day. He's like, if you have a brand, you are also a media company. Right? It's called social media, right? So if you post on the internet, if you post on Instagram, right, you are a media company, whether you want to realize it or not. And how well it goes for you, it depends upon how your understanding of it and how you leverage it, right? So just make sure you understand, I don't care if you sell t-shirts, I don't care what you sell. Don't just rely on, well, I am good at this product or service, and then I rely on Instagram ads or marketing on this other person's podcast, or like that's my only form of getting my product out. No, build your audience, because what that does is you can own your distribution. When you get a new email on your list, right, it's called owned media. Why? Because until they unsubscribe, you own that email. You can email, follow up with them until they buy, die, or tell you to go to hell. And they tell you to go to hell, follow up one more time, right? So like, you gotta build up your own media distribution channel, because it makes it that much easier to get your product to the marketplace. And so that's all I got. This is a really, really, really fun one for me. Carter, I hope you enjoyed it as well.
Oh man, I had a blast. I had a great time. I think we gave away a stupid amount of game in a short amount of time. So I hope y'all picked up what we put down. Go ahead and check out YouTube. Hit that like, hit that subscribe button, and if y'all wouldn't mind leaving us a review,
please.
If y'all wouldn't mind, because this was heat. And like I said before, you don't gotta do it. You don't gotta do anything. All y'all are adults or soon to be adults, but if you miss that class in the Melanin Millionaire Club in August, because it's the only time I'm gonna do it. I'm not gonna teach this how to run up a bag on your birthday again. If you want to miss this class, do it at your own discretion. But Melanin Money /join. It's $1 trial, 14 days. You can sign up right before the class and just get the game. I'm just telling you, miss it on your own dismay.
Right. That's on you. But guys, again, we hope you enjoyed it. Listening to our perpetual mixtape. It's funny, it would have really hit home if we did seasons, right? Like we would like volume 1, volume 2, volume 3. We just drop ours back to back, our episodes back to back.
Yeah.
But nonetheless, guys, appreciate you guys for tapping in and indulging our crossover of entrepreneurship and hip hop. Until next time, peace.
Peace.